Every DMO and property manager in the world wishes they had a crystal ball. Some come close. Figuring out what makes a destination tick is pretty complicated. You have seasonal variation, you have holidays, shifting school breaks, you have special events you're trying to schedule, and you have a whole big complicated mix of like a million different kinds of lodging. At least it seems that way. DestiMetrics helps you figure it out. It helps you distill all that complexity into information you can act on while there's still time to act. What does it look like? Let me show you. So this is the DestiMetrics dashboard for a fictitious destination in the Southeast US. Now, there's a lot going on here, and there's a lot I won't be able to cover. I'm just going to give you a tiny peek into the power of good information and what it might look like to dig into some trends that are happening in your destination and how you might take action. So this is the first thing we might look at. This is occupancy data for our entire destination from all the lodging properties who are submitting data. And the blue line is what's on the books. The red line is what was on the books as of 1 year ago today. And the gray line is where we ended up by the time we got to that actual date. These black bars are variance bars, and they show us the difference between this year and last year. So you can see for the next month or two, we're in pretty good shape. We're way above pace versus last year. As we move a little further into the future, you see we're up, we're down, we're up, we're down. Pretty flat through this period. This is our shoulder season here. And then as we get into winter, we have some up, we have some down. And then as we get into mid-December and January, it looks like we're pretty consistently down. Now already just from this data, we can see that we have some opportunities as the destination. For instance, if we're trying to schedule an event and we know it needs to happen in the winter, we can see that this might be a good time period to do it because we're down compared to last year, and it's pretty unlikely we're going to get to 100% occupancy and start to run into lodging shortages. Maybe if we have some short lead advertising money out in the marketplace, we might want to pull that from this period and dedicate it to some long lead advertising campaigns for this period over here. But beyond that, we can dig in a little bit and figure out maybe what's actually going on here. So next up, we're looking at average daily rate for our destination. And again, blue is what's on the books now, red is what was on the books a year ago today, and gray is where we ended up. So you can see for average daily rate, we're at about $1,100 in December right now on average. We were at $959 last year this time. And last year, by the time we got around to December, we were down to $556. So lots of specials and discounts that ended up bringing that average daily rate down. So our rates are up, and that can be good. That can mean that demand is up, but we saw that occupancy is down. So let's see if we can draw a more complete picture. So here we're looking at RevPAR, revenue per available room, and we can see that we're pretty flat to last year, which means that our daily rate and our occupancy are kind of evening each other out. So by this point in the process, we have even more information, and now we have some stuff that we might want to be distributing to our constituents in our destination, because there's a little bit of a danger that they might be looking at their books, at the dollars and cents on the books for December, and thinking they're kind of on pace. But we have some insight now to show them that you might think you're on pace, but you're actually running behind, and there's a danger that if you don't lower rates, we're going to miss out, and we're not going to reach the occupancy we did last year. So is there more context we can add? Yes, there is. And we can do that by looking at other destinations like ours. So here is a bunch of charts comparing our destination to others in our region. And you can see here that in terms of occupancy, we're about middle of the pack. We're sitting at 10% for December. There's a couple of people way up here, 20%, 16%, but we're about middle of the pack. There's some destinations that are even lower than us. Wait a minute, let's look at year over year. So year over year, yeah, we're middle of the pack, but what are these guys doing over here? Maybe we start to look into the marketplace a little bit and try to figure out if there's things that are going on that we are not taking advantage of that we could be. So we at least know that not everybody is exactly in the same boat as us. But what about rate? Well, if we scroll down here, we can see that we're really at the front of the pack in terms of rate. That could mean that we're just the most premium destination in our region, but it could mean that we're a little bit too high. But let's look again at year over year change. So here we are year over year. Our daily rates are up 15%. Almost everybody's rates are up 15%. But look at this. There's 4 regions that have actually lowered their rates on average versus last year. And what's interesting about that is that there were also 4 or 5 destinations within our region whose occupancy was up compared to last year instead of down like the rest of us. That's interesting. Not necessarily a correlation, but it could be, and definitely worth looking into. And then finally, we come down here to RevPAR, we see that, again, we're towards the front of the pack, but year over year, we're down, and there's 4, 5, 6 destinations that are up, some of them significantly so. So it really does seem like there's something going on here. So now we have enough information to start to make some calls, start to hold some meetings, and try to make a dent in December. So that's DestiMetrics, or at least a tiny sliver of DestiMetrics. There's actually a lot more. We have top-level industry-wide data, region-wide data. If you're an individual property or resort that submits data, you get access to a whole series of reports that we haven't seen here that lets you compare your data to a competitive set within your destination, to the destination as a whole, to the industry. We've got a tool for seeing where your guests are coming from, where your revenue is coming from. We have webinars. We've also got broad economic indicators. There's more than you see here. We have news. We have monthly reports called market briefings that are in-depth reports written by our analysts once a month for each region. It just goes on. And really, the best part is DestiMetrics is not a hands-off, self-service kind of platform. It comes with an expert analyst that works hand in hand with you to develop reports, to analyze your data, to identify opportunities, to act. I'll tell you what, we'd love to show you more. Reach out and schedule a demo and take the first step towards truly understanding your destination.